Meanwhile, crypto markets crashed following news of the government introducing a bill in Parliament to prohibit all private cryptocurrencies in India, barring a few exceptions. The Cryptocurrency and Regulation of Official Digital Currency Bill 2021 is set to be introduced in Parliament's winter session starting on the 29th of November. The bill is expected to prohibit all private cryptocurrencies in India. The government says the Reserve Bank of India will issue its own digital currency, and the security of investors' money and misleading advertisements in the media regarding investment potential and risks have long been a cause of concern. The government, of course, has had several meetings with all stakeholders to discuss the regulation of digital currencies. The Prime Minister had also chaired a high-level meeting with officials from various ministries and the RBI on the issue. What is this going to mean for the future of cryptocurrencies in India? Well, joining us this morning, we have Rohas Nagpal, author of the Future Money Playbook, Chief Blockchain Architect of Wrapped Asset Project. Thanks very much for being with us. PM Mishra, legal expert, fintech and blockchain, managing partner, FinLaw, is also with us, as is Ritam Gupta, joining us from Dubai this morning, a blockchain entrepreneur and CEO and director of Defi11 and Nonceblocks. Thank you all. This is something we're going to be talking about for some time now. But PM Mishra, if I can come to you first, why do you believe the Indian government is now proposing to prohibit all private cryptocurrencies altogether?
Good morning. It's like, in my view, as far as the definition of private cryptocurrency, what exactly government is thinking about that and what exactly the definition for them, that matters a lot.
Right.
Till now, we are only talking about it's a proposed bill. Let them discuss about it. For me, private cryptocurrency means the definition can vary. Is it a privacy coin? Are they talking about privacy coin? Or they are talking about something which is owned by a private entity? If you are talking about a private entity owned by the coin owned by a private entity, then the game in that case is totally different. There are several currencies that nobody has owned it. They are decentralized. Then I will wait for the day when they clearly discuss it in the parliament, what they mean by private cryptocurrency and what are the exceptions they're talking about. So I'm not in a hurry. I'll wait for the bill to be discussed.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what I
fair
feel
enough.
like.
You're saying we still don't have all the details of this bill or its provisions.
True.
Ritam Gupta, let me bring you in. Does banning private cryptocurrency, from what we understand right now, in terms of all private cryptocurrencies being banned, does this harm investors' interests, in your opinion? The government has already talked about it being highly volatile, that there are misleading advertisements on private cryptocurrencies in the media, that they're worried. The Prime Minister has gone on record to say, this should not fall in the wrong hands. It could ruin the future of our youth. Now, these are very strong statements to make. What do you make of this?
According to me, this is not something that's the right thing to do, and not even feasible. I mean, you are really, by banning private cryptocurrencies, you are really taking out the essence of blockchain or taking out the essence of crypto from the entire market. I read a statement from the PM saying that we are in process of banning it so that we can promote the underlying technology. And underlying technology behind crypto is blockchain. And that really implies, or blockchain really makes it decentralized, transparent, and not really a centralized thing, right? So if you are banning all the private cryptos and just getting a centralized crypto in place so that you can regulate it somehow, I won't call it regulation. I would rather call it taking out the essence of blockchain from the entire crypto world or from the entire decentralized world. So this is now this is not how it should be done.
But the government argues that it's trying to safeguard investor interests.
No, you cannot really safeguard investors' interest in a manner wherein you say, okay, we are banning everything and just one private crypto is there. None of the investors are going to come over there. None of the retail investors, none of the big investors are going to accept that. If in case you just simply ban it unilaterally and not really following the essence, it does not really make sense. In my opinion, this is something that needs to be thought of. And as Mr. Mishra said, that we are still far away from getting something concrete. So till the time we don't really understand what the government has stated or what the government is deciding, we still need something concrete to be.
There's certainly something to be said for caution. We don't know the exact contours of this bill yet. So absolutely, and it's going to be discussed, debated in Parliament at length. But at the end of the day, and if I can bring Mr. Nagpal into this, we already have an approximate 10 crore crypto investors in India. What's going to happen to them if crypto, in fact, if all private cryptocurrencies do get banned? In that scenario, what do you expect to see?
Sure. So actually, I am in favor of certain kinds of cryptos being banned, especially the privacy coins. And I'm sure if the government decides to implement the ban, it's not going to be overnight, and people would be given time to liquidate their holdings. So I don't really foresee too many people being affected. And I'm also very skeptical about these numbers of 10 crore investors.
Okay,
I think the actual numbers are far lower than that.
Okay. But there are many who are now sort of raising questions about whether what we are seeing is India effectively following the Chinese model of having one centralized digital currency and not having other operators in the market at all. Ritam Gupta, do you see it going that way? What would be your concerns, if any, if that indeed happens?
I won't say it's going that way, but then it's mimicking that entire play that the Chinese government did. If in case that happens, I think we are actually moving towards, I would say, just as we had demonetization to regulate the entire cash flow, that yielded us some of the goods, but then there were a lot of cons associated to it. Similarly, if we go forward doing this, I would still say the negative impact that we are gonna leave on the entire investor community, the retail investors, it's gonna, like, even if you see, just as it was announced, the entire market crashed. All the smaller investors or the retail investors, they lost a lot of money. So it is actually taking out the interest of all those people who were developing their portfolios, who were getting into crypto. And that's the only reason you get to have a mass adoption. If you just get or take out all these retail investors from crypto, you're not going to get the mass adoption coming in for blockchain any soon, right? So that's what I believe that.
So PM Mishra, do you agree with Ritam Gupta when he says this could in fact affect the entire ecosystem for new age fintech?
See, frankly speaking, as far as if the blanket ban will come into place, yeah, right now cryptocurrency is a part of fintech. Still, I have few doubts about it, but yeah, it's there. And as far as India is concerned, people are talking about 10 crores investor. Maybe I would not believe that it's 10 crores.
Okay.
Maybe it's lesser than that, but still then, cryptocurrency is a part, and even institutional investors, they are taking interest.
Yeah.
And it will impact the ecosystem for sure. But at the end of the day, I would still believe government will not take, they will not take that kind of measure like China has taken. Whereas they will not go for blanket ban. They will give some space. So I do believe investors should not be so much panicked as far as about the news about listing out the bill and all. Okay. Let's wait for some time.
Let's wait, you say, and of course we do have to wait for more details of the contours of this bill. But Rohas Nagpal, we have heard, the RBI governor raise several concerns about cryptocurrencies. There seems to have been certain, some amount of negativity about what private cryptocurrencies are doing right now. So, where do you see all this headed?
Sure. So, like I said, most cryptos are not actually currencies. There are about 13,000 cryptos in 11 categories. Only some of them fall under the definition of currencies.
Right.
And I totally understand the need for the government to regulate or maybe even ban these outright. And as a blockchain developer, I can tell you, most of the people I see in the market today are not investors, they are speculators. And honestly, them leaving this industry is probably going to be good for the industry and not bad. I know it may sound very contradictory to what the others say, but then that's what I believe.
Right. But would you say that, I suppose my question to you is, what happens to those who have already invested? Should it be left up to investors to decide for themselves? Do you believe that one centralized digital currency is the way forward, or is this going to be taking a step back? I mean, it's not legal tender in any country in the world except for El Salvador. But at the end of the day, in the distant future, or perhaps in the near future, when cryptocurrencies become, if they do indeed become legal tender, is India going to be left behind in a situation like that?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. And I'm strongly against the concept of trying to use cryptos as currencies, especially in a country like us. I believe the only kind of cryptos we really need as a country are utility coins, which are powering individual blockchain products. Other than that, the way this 100 rupees, buy crypto in 100 rupees, those kind of ads, they bring the wrong kind of people into the market who are going to completely get slaughtered and lose all their money. So crypto requires a very high level of sophistication,
right,
technologically as well as financially. And I think most of the common people should absolutely not venture into trying to be crypto investors or speculators.
All right, we'll leave it at that for now. No doubt we are going to be talking about it as more information is forthcoming also. Thank you all for joining us this morning on Good Morning India.